Good morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a good day. Let's look at these Defiance funds and let's look at all these high yield funds. This is your morning high yield report. All right. So let's start by looking at how the futures traded overnight for the indexes, and we'll look at the Defiance funds, then the Yield Max funds. Okay, you could see yesterday's big market explosion. That was great. NASDAQ went straight up. Russell actually overnight has started to pull back a little bit. These are 30-minute charts. All right, let's look at oil. Of course, Defiance has a new fund, a new oil fund. Let's look at S&P and see what it's doing. Okay, pretty much the same thing as NASDAQ. All right. Well, here's the 5-minute max spreadsheet. So let's look at what happened yesterday. Here was yesterday. So yesterday, all of the Defiance option funds that I talk about, that I follow, they all underperformed the benchmark, or their parent asset, I should say, not really the benchmark. But they all had big profits on the day. Triple QI made $1 million. JPY made 400,000, 420 actually. IWMY made 986,000 for the month. Triple QI is already at 3.7 million. Dividend estimate on Triple QI is 82 cents, which is good. JPY is 72 cents, which is really good. IWMY is 76 cents, which is not good. Although some people prefer a lower dividend, believe it or not, on some of these higher paying stocks, just because in their theory, it just helps. It puts less pressure on the NAV, and it does. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Okay, so let's go to today. So today they rolled their strikes way forward. Yesterday, these guys at the Triple QI sold the 18,700. Today they sold the 19,070. Yesterday they got 86. Today they got 82. So that's about the same. In any event, we'll see how they do. But so far, it's been a good start to the month. So fingers crossed. Now let's look at the markets. We'll check out the cash opens of these indexes. We have to look at the cash chart to see where the profit box is. The profit box is drawn on the cash chart because you have to trade options. Options trade in the cash index, not futures. Or the options these guys trade do. They have futures options too. Okay. It's not a super compressed profit box. The yellow looks pretty big. Yellow is the amount of extrinsic premium, which is the out of the money amount of the option premium. And yellow is the amount that they pay your dividend with. So lots of times when the market's at super high levels, the profit boxes will get really compressed. So that's NASDAQ. We'll look at S&P. Of course, S&P is what JEPY trades. Their profit box looks similar. Doesn't look too compressed. Right there's an example of a compressed profit box. See, if it keeps going up, it's going to get compressed in a hurry. All right, and now we'll check out Russell's cash open. This is for the IWMY traders, and you know, they have a pretty big target time for it, looks like. It's about the same size as it is every day. The bigger the box, the bigger the edge is in the trade. The taller, longer it is, or not longer, the taller it is. Okay. So now, of course, we have some new underlines at Defiance. We have USO, which is an oil ETF. Okay, now these guys are on the 5-minute max spreadsheet, but let's look back at it real quick. These guys sold well, it says they sold the 77 strike, but that is wrong. And I don't know why that's wrong, but they actually sold the 72 strike. And for some reason, it's not picking up this line on the spreadsheet. And I just figured out why. Anyway, I'll figure that. I'll do that later, but we can look. Let's just look at this and forget about the 5-minute max spreadsheet for right now. 5-minute max just It's supposed to just work off these, these bigger spreadsheets. When you meant these guys sold the 72 option for 78 cents. So their break even is 71.22. Well, how do we know that? It's 78 cents minus 72. So that's the reason the profit box goes from those two numbers. And that's the reason why if you have a profit box like that looks like this, that the more it looks like this, the higher. If you have a fund that has profit boxes that look like that, your distribution is going to be a lot higher. So I draw these to scale. In any event, the bad news about this profit box is the good news is they brought it in 78 cents and expires tomorrow. That's great. The bad news is they sold it right at the money. It's a good thing old Retire on Dividends isn't doing an update, a daily update on this fund. He would be on fire. He doesn't like those strike prices that are too close, does he? And everyone knows I'm just joking. I love Retire on Dividends, but yeah, he's and a lot of people don't. To be fair, it caps your price out. No one likes to have a cap price. All right. Well, these guys also have TLT as an underline, which is a bond fund. And there's good news in this I'm going to tell you about, and then we'll look at the yield max funds. Okay. So TLT, we have a new fund called the Treasury Alternative, the Defiance Treasury Alternative. It hasn't been great lately. It started at 20 and it's at 16.90 yesterday. I expect it to go up today. These guys have an option position on that has a valley of death in it. I've talked about it. I used to talk about it. I just quit drawing the valley of death, but the recent price action, the valley of death is still pretty much where it used to be. Maybe I should just, but anyway, it's just so boring to look at it. But the recent price action has got these guys out of the valley of death. So they have two long options and they have two short options. So that means they own two options. So they own a call and put, and they've sold a call and put. All right. One of the calls they own is responsible for a ton of profit. Look at this. It closed at 243 yesterday. They own the 91 call and they own the 90 put. The 90 put's worthless. They got that for like 70 cents or something, and they got the call for $1 or something. So they have $1.70 in the spread between the both of them. This thing's at $2.43. When you trade in size, that's a pretty good kick there. All right. I mean, I expect their price to take a little bump up because they'll probably do what's called rebalance today, where they realize this profit. Hopefully they do. Maybe they'll try to let it go up another day. But if it slips back in the valley of death, oh my gosh, I know there's going to be a lot of Trust shareholders that are going to be mad. And preface that by saying there's not a lot of Trust shareholders out there. Unfortunately, this fund really hasn't caught on and does not have a ton of AUM. All right. Well, let's look here at the Defiance Fund. So we'll start with Tesla. Of course, we look at Tesla to monitor Tesla, the covered call funds, Tesla, and the covered put fund crash. Anyway, here's their strike prices, and they're all out of the money. So both of these funds could potentially appreciate today. Okay, now on not so much on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is capped out on, or not capped out. They've blown through all three of their strikes. And the pre-market, they've opened at 1,200. So they're going to have another gap up, just like yesterday's gap up, just like the day before that's gap up. And a few days, that gap was actually filled. But when you have these gaps and they go a whole day without being filled, it's probably going to go the other direction. So that happened that day, it happened that day, and it's happening again this morning. This is like a super trend, or it's like a tsunami or something. All right, so now let's check out Coinbase. I believe these guys are in the captain club also. They are sitting at the captain's table tonight. All right, so that's Coinbase, which of course we care about because of Coney. Misty. Or is Misty sitting at the captain's table? No, Misty's actually at a decent spot. Or actually, yeah, Misty's in a decent spot. Misty actually has, you can't see it because some of these strikes are close together and I didn't draw them, but there's actually six strikes here. These two are blown out. These are at max profit and these still have some upside appreciation to go. So great job. I would say this fund is in the comparative best spot of all of them. Now let's check out GameStop. I wish someone would have taken my option trade in GameStop. Anyway, it's up a little bit in pre-market. It closed at 31.45. It's at 31.78, which is actually probably nothing. But here's what the profit and loss graph looks like on that trade. There's a little over $400 risk. Can't lose on the upside. I thought it might go up one more day and the volatility might stay up and it might float up into the 40s. You know, my max profit was right around 45. I sold this 45 call for $2.79 2 days ago. It's worth 79 cents this morning, or it was worth 79 cents at the close yesterday. You can look at the time, here's time decay. So here's the profit and loss right now. But as the day goes on, actually the market's up where the dotted line is. If the market stays where it is, actually, I don't have a whole lot of upside in this trade. But if the market, you know, during the day, if GameStop slides over here to the right, there's still more, you know, this expires tomorrow, but this could be worth $500, $600, $700. Now, if the GameStop goes down, that sucks, but I have a 16% buffer before this trade loses money. Anyway, this is a good one. All right, guys. I'm going to let you get out of here. If you guys are interested in trades like this, I post them every once in a while. I'm going to post a follow-up. We're going to take this trade off today and roll it into next week. So I'll post a separate video about that. I appreciate you guys being here at this early hour, and you guys have a good day. All right.